Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to create this cute monster illustration in the app IBIS Paint X. So first I'm going to open a 3:4 3K canvas in my IBIS Paint X app. First I'm going to import the color palette that I'm going to use. This is like pink purple color palette. So first I'm choosing this dark purple color. And here I'm going to draw the shape of the monster. So I'm just choosing the felt tip pen hard brush to draw the shape. Here I also used mirror ruler to draw the symmetrical shape. And here you can see there is a gap, so I'm going to fill this. Now I'm going to use the fur one brush to add some furry texture, because this monster is going to be the fur textured monster. So I'm adding the fur details only at the corner, because this is a solid brush. If you add these fur details to the center or to the body of the monster, it's not going to be add any texture. So I'm just adding at the corners. And now I'm going to draw the legs and the ears for the monster. So I'm using this purple color and using the felt tip pen hard brush to draw the shape. And then I'm using the bucket tool to fill the color. Here I'm going to draw the ears and fill with the color. Okay, now the two major parts are ready. One more thing is eyes and mouth. So for the drawing of eyes, I'm just using the circle tool. So I'm drawing the circle like this and filling with the white color. Inside I'm going to use something like a pink color instead of black. So I'm just using the pink color eyeballs to make it cute little bit. Now I'm going to add the shadow highlight details for everything one by one. For the body, I'm just created the clipping layer. Before that, I'm just adding the mouth part, because I forgot the mouth part. So I just moved back to the eye layer and added the mouth using the black color and lasso fill tool. Also with clipping with alpha lock on, I'm just adding the tongue. So now this is created the clipping layer for the body, and I'm using the watercolor fur brush that I have created on my own. So this is going to add some furry texture to the monster. So already we have the fur texture at the corners. We have to add more texture to the entire body. For that reason, I'm using this brush. So I use the linear burn blending mode layer to make the shadow details, and now I'm using the add blending mode clipping layer for the same body layer to add some highlight details, bright details like this. And here around the eyes, below the mouth, I'm going to add some highlight details. Like this. Okay, so I make it smaller and brighter. Okay, now it's almost fine. Always prefer using the low opacity, because the high opacity of the brush is going to make it more white. There will not be any texture when it comes to the add blending mode layer. So always prefer using the low opacity when you're using the both the enable blending mode layer as well as the add blending mode layer. Okay, now I'm going to add the highlight texture and the shadow details for the legs and ears. So I'm going to use the airbrush normal brush. This airbrush normal has some texture to this, So I'm using this brush. So if you don't feel any texture, you can just simply switch on the texture option and select the texture you want in the settings available under the brush settings of any brush that you like. So now I'm adding some more darkness, so using dark purplish color to add the shadow details at the corners. Now I'm just creating the add blending mode clipping layer to add the highlights. Using the bright, almost like white color here. So once you add this highlight, you can see some sort of molded, shiny look appears on the artwork instantly. I'm also adding some bright shade at the corners like this to make it more like a 3D one. So if you are drawing something like a 3D, add some dark colors, and then at last just add a minor stroke of bright color to make it like a 3D one, rounded one. So that's the secret. And now I'm going to add some dark background. So I'm using something like a navy blue color here. Next, we are going to add the texture, highlight, shadow for the eyes. So here you can see I'm using the airbrush normal to add the shadow details. I'm using dark purple, something like saturated purple color, and also inside the pink eyeball. And adding some texture. So now we are going to add some highlights. Create a add blending mode layer as usual. So if you're following my artwork for the long time, you may have understood the concept that I'm using for the very long time. The thing is, for the shadow or the darker shades, I'm going to use the layer burn blending mode clipping layer, and for the highlights or the lighter light details, I'm just using the add blending mode. Most often I only prefer using this because if you use different blending mode in each artwork, you may feel confused. But as a beginner, you want to get steady at the basic things, so I always make these two layer blending option most often so that you don't get confused. And here you can see, and the add blending mode layer, and adding the pinkish shade, almost like a white color, to add some more glow to the eyeball part. And above the black color area of the eye, I'm adding the highlights using the airbrush triangle with white color. In this way, if you make it like a 3D eyes. So just one shade at the top and one rounder shade at the bottom. Now we have to add the details for the tongue. So in the lenient burn blending mode layer with pink color, I'm adding this texture only at the corners of the tongue, the top corners, using the airbrush normal. So now basic highlight shadow details all over. Now I just creating a ring above the monster to make it look like an angel. I'm using the neon 1 add brush here, and the blending mode I'm using is add blending mode. Here you can see is make this like a little monster angel. So now I'm using the add brush triangle to add some glow, which is the light flash falling on the monster from above the ring. like this. Also adding a end stroke above the ring as well. To make it the concept of the light falling on the objects, I'm going to add some shades, highlights on the ears as well. Now, in the same layer, I'm using the glitter dots add brush to add some dots, glowy dots. So the concept here is the monster angel is on some farm field or something like that, and that is full of little light birds, what they call it, I don't know, I forgot. So, and at the bottom I'm also going to add some grass to represent the farm. It is on the field now, so I'm using the goose grass color brush to add this. Also, I feel like this is more of a bright blue color, so I'm just making the alpha lock on for this layer and using the airbrush triangle black color. I'm just shading it into a black one to make the grass darker. So the details, little glossy details only appear at the top of the grass, and at the bottom it's going to be a dark one. So now at the background of the monster, there are some fast lights, bright, colorful lights. So for that, I just created add blending mode layer at the next to the background color layer, and adding some pink, yellow colors using the airbrush triangle. I feel like it's almost ready. So the colorful angel monster. So I'm just setting it as PNG, and this is the final look. I hope you like this tutorial, learn something new from me. If so, subscribe to my channel, and thank you for watching.